Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Neuro, and I'm going to introduce to you the Brute from Stormgate. The Brute is a very large, relatively medium speed unit that hits reasonably hard and is the Luminite only unit that the faction can make, meaning you don't need the secondary resource Therium if you just have a bunch of Luminite and no Therium or low Therium and you just want to burn off some of that Luminite with some more units. The Iron Vault is where you can make the Brute. It is the most basic first accessible unit that you can get with the faction. The Brutes, they hit pretty hard. They deal 30 damage. They have 0.5 range, which is more than, say, Workers, which is 0.1. Their attack speed is 1.8, so they hit reasonably fast as well, and they hit ground. They also have 10 armor. That is a lot of armor. Workers have 0 armor. As a reference, they have 45 white health. Whenever they step off of Shroud, the white health bar slowly decreases, as you can see for this guy here. But if they go back onto it, that resource will start recharging again. And they have 190 regular health. So these are considered biological and heavy, which means you cannot fit any more than one of them on an elevator if they were to go into a hotel, say. Alright, so the Brute has some interesting stuff to it. It also spawns 2 Fiends when it dies, and those are just units that are permanently yours. They've got 2 small dudes, so I can show that for you here. So you can activate this when they're at full health, or you can activate it when they're at low health. This also activates passively if the Brute is killed. Let's see if I can proc this. So I'm attacking this Brute. Hands off the keyboard. When this Brute dies, will it spawn 2 Fiends? Question mark? It does. So this is passive. You don't need to micro this in fights, but you can. And someone in Twitch chat was telling me why you might do that earlier today in Infernal versus Infernal. Say your opponent has put the Infest debuff on this guy, which means it'll spawn 1 Fiend for the enemy when it dies. You can actually manually just choose to Sunder Soul, and you die on your own terms, and you don't give them that free Fiend. So that might be a reason why you could just activate the Fiend. You do lose a lot of health by doing it with the full HP Brute, if you're thinking about what you have here. So we've got a full HP Brute, 190, 45 for their health bars, and then just busting it down into this. You lost a lot of value. The Fiend has 60 health with up to 15 white health total. They're very fast, that's their advantage. So anytime your opponent overextends with some units, you could chase with Fiends all the way back across the map. So this is a very punishing unit to people who get out of position because it's so dang fast. And their DPS is pretty good. They've got 8 damage, 0.1 range, attack speed is 0.5, so the same attack speed as a Brute, but I believe it's less damage. Yeah, these are 30 damage a hit with an attack speed of 1.8, so these hit slower than Fiends. Fiends are more like Zerglings, basically. Not quite as fast as them, but they try their best. They only hit ground, as a note. 0 armor, so they're a lot more fragile than the Brutes, and their move speed is 0.6. Unstable mass effect. This unit degenerates 2% of its white health per second off of Shroud, and cannot be infested, so you can't get more Fiends from killing these Fiends. They award you no additional Fiends if they are killed by some infest effect. So the Brute, pretty cool, pretty simple unit. Whenever you're in the late game, say for example, and you've got a whole bunch of Luminite, you can just slap down a whole bunch of these Iron Vaults. Just make a whole bunch of them, and then when they're all completed, you can just slam out a whole bunch of Brutes and spend your money pretty fast. So cool unit for the Infernals, pretty interesting. It's got some energy of the Grunt from the Orc in Warcraft 3. It makes me think of that to an extent. And then the Fiend that comes from it obviously makes me think of the Zergling from StarCraft 2. So Brutes, they're pretty cool. They basically only make gargle noises. I thought it was really interesting hearing the backstory of how Frost Giant got the Brute voice acted. They actually just did a raffle for a random employee of the day, and they just gave that person the opportunity to have 15 beers. And then they just kind of gargled next to the microphone. And that's how they got these really unique sounds from the Brute. It's just, beer has a lot of carbonation in it, and it's gonna make you very gargly. And they really wanted to give you that sense of like, wow, we just had way too much carbonated beverage with the Brute. So let me know what you think. I think it's a pretty cool unit. Definitely not gonna win a beauty contest, but to each their own. Maybe some people really like the way the Brute looks.